Sure. Can you have mic?
Yeah. When you talk to, like when I went and spoke to my mom's sister and her brother-in-law,
Yeah, we'll get you the mic.
70s and 80s to the US and especially abroad, I think their disinterest in India was a lot more than when some of us went and who came back. So I would still say that so they actually delineated themselves. I'm talking about the internet, from the civilization here. So a lot of those children who grew up connect, because when I speak to my cousins, really for them, like, you see this movie Airlift, which the guy says, I'm a Kuwaiti, and then the Indian government, and then he realizes that India is his identity. Is there some way a problem that the people who went out in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s also let down their children? I'm talking about abroad versus in India. And a lot of us have actually come back and are very proud to be Indians and are now contributing in whichever way. So it's a mixed bag both ways. You can't just blame the government and the schooling system, because there's a very large diaspora that lives abroad also.
It's also parents. Yeah, I agree with you. But this children being alienated from culture, I find that very big time here. I find that very big time here. I find that in the US, I'm feeling that the third generation is coming back. Parents are too busy settling down, making money, buying their car, house, getting security and all that, didn't have any time for this, and were willing to sell out their identity and culture, had inferiority complexes, whatever it is, to just get ahead in the game, which is normal of immigrant groups in the US. So the children were raised without any identity, they lost and all that. But now when those children grow up and the grandchildren come, they are very careful that they don't go through the same. And that is what these Bal Vihars, these Chinmaya mission schools, they're doing. They have, maybe 75, 80, 100 of these Chinmaya mission schools and many others like them. They attract this kind of a group. So that is happening. Here, I'm not sure that there is a corrective pendulum, because here you have the youth who are kind of radically wanting to westernize at the expense of Indianization. See, China has an interesting idea. China says, we'll take all the technology, all the science, all the material benefits, and we will link it to Chinese Confucian history. And so this is China's view. Tradition is not in contradiction to modernity. Tradition of China and modernity, our own way, is part of one continuum. So we need to do that. I mean, we need to do that in the sense that I should be able to protect my tradition, pass it on to the next generation, and be as modern as possible and feel very Indian doing that. Here it is, what is taught is, a Western ideology is taught, that tradition versus modernity. Because they had to drop their own heritage of Greek, Latin, civilizational heritage. When Christianity came, was replaced by something new, and the old pagan cultures were destroyed and deleted. So in our case, we have not had a history of destroying the past in order to do something new. So every era, there is the Vedic era, then there is the Itihas, the Puranas, all the way, then there's the Bhakti eras. But the old ones are not deleted. It's just built on top of those.
And in Western civilization, this has happened again and again. So
Yes.
the Renaissance meant that the Christian roots were again pushed behind. Then during Victorian period, with Darwinism, once again there was a major crisis of faith and science. But in our case, of course, it, as you're saying, built one on top of the other. We don't...
Well, it has to do with, again, the earlier question which was asked, and I said, the ability of Indians to deal with complexity, including contradiction. That there is this and there is also that. हमको ठीक लगता है, कुछ हमको problem नहीं है. That kind of, I don't have to reconcile कि ये ठीक है या वो ठीक है. उसको निकालें, उसको निकालें, comfortable, वो भी सब ठीक है. This kind of an ability, I think, is very interesting, but we are losing it.